Hey, let's congregation. So, when it comes to James Harden and his trades, seems to get a bad rap for wanting to leave one team and go to the next. I had a full conversation with a good friend of mine. Shout out to Eric Siegel. Long conversation. And he said to me, Carl, listen, let's just break it down layer by layer and look at the teams he was at and why he ended up getting traded from each team and why he wanted out from each situation. First, you look at the Houston situation where he was there for 8 years, Western Conference Finals appearances. They ran into the Warriors. He had some bad games where, I believe we hold him accountable for not showing up. But then towards the tail end of it, they added a Russell Westbrook. He ended up getting John Wall. It just wasn't going right. You spent 8 years there trying to win. It didn't work out. He asked for a trade. And I think we've come to understand in the basketball culture, after a significant amount of years, you're going to want to move on from your team. And again, full transparency, this is really hard for me to discuss because everyone kind of knows how I've felt about James Harden throughout all these years, right? So he asked for a trade from Houston to Brooklyn. You get to Brooklyn, you run into the Kyrie and Kevin Durant situation. Kevin Durant coming off the injury, the vaccination, whatever went down there. It's been so long now, almost 6 years, or 6 years when that happened. He gets to Brooklyn, he has a hamstring, and during the playoffs, Kyrie doesn't play. He's playing away games and home games. I'm not sitting here blaming anybody. I'm just giving you guys the facts of what happened. So we have some context. Looking at a player, do you want to stay in that situation, being uncertain, especially one player, particularly in Kyrie, I believe, did not get an extension, the team not giving him an extension. Do you want to stay in that situation? Then he decides he doesn't want to stay in that situation. And whatever he goes through with the organization, he decides to move on from there. And then he goes to Philly. He gets to Philly, he's able to help Joel Embiid win an MVP. And he's, working with Daryl Morey, who he worked with in Houston. And I believe he was promised certain things as far as contractual wise that Daryl Morey did not deliver on, and Daryl Morey ended up ghosting him on. So you leave that situation, you go to the Clippers, and then now what happens with the Clippers, we see clearly the Clippers are not looking to pay him what he believes he's worth as far as giving him an extension and giving him more money. He gets traded again. Overall, I understand where Eric was coming from, and I want us to understand, are we giving James Harden too much flack for his moves as far as not realizing he's just not lucky enough to be in a situation where he doesn't have to move? Food for thought. Like, share, comment, subscribe to all Hitless content across all social media platforms. Appreciate the support.